primarily the main platform that we'll use for all communication going forward, such as sharing announcements regarding special sessions that will be coming up and things like that. So making sure that all of you are present on Discord and part of the broader Outscale community as well, because you'll get to meet a lot of other game developers and industry professionals, alumni, etc., etc. Right? I'm surprised nobody has yet voted on what the fuck is Discord. So that's good to see. But yeah, awesome. So the poll is closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. All right, cool. So not everybody voted, but good enough. I can see, majority of you are already on Discord, but some of you have mentioned that you have not taken the custom role for Launchpad. Please do, because then you will not have access to the private channel for Launchpad audience, and that would limit how you understand things. If you have not yet taken the role, don't worry. After this call, you will have all the instructions you need to take that. Okay. All right. So 1 second. Piyush, if you have host access, can you please make Manas host? Wait, Manas, you are host only.
Yeah, I just got access.
Perfect. Okay, sorry. All right, cool. So don't worry about the role access. If you haven't yet taken the role access, it's okay. We will share the instructions in just a minute on how to take your role. You can do it after this call. Okay. Right now, just focus on the conversation here. All right. The role will be available to all the shortlisted members. Perfect. So Manas, I think next you're up.
Yep. So guys, since everyone is new here, I thought we could do like a simple game dev trivia series just to gauge what kind of audience we have. So I can already see people cursing me for being a console gamer. Nice. So I just wanted to have like a quick trivia question. I'll just be going through some questions. All are game dev related. Most of them have been like generation defining mechanics that I just curated over the last 2 hours. So I'll be just asking them, seeing what kind of knowledge you guys have already of game development, and as soon as I ask a question, feel free to like drop the answers in the chat. So I hope everyone got what I'm trying to say. Yes, no. Cool. First question: which multiplayer shooter game, made the ping mechanic famous? I don't know if my answer knows what a ping mechanic is, but okay, no, not the ping mechanic, not the network wala ping, but there is a mechanic in games that, okay, one person got it. Okay, not going to point out. Let's see.
Can you explain what the ping mechanic is?
So it's a pretty simple mechanic in a multiplayer game. Say I'm looking at an AK-47, and I don't have a mic on. I know my teammate is very good with an AK. I can simply go there, click on the middle mouse button, and it will send a message or a voice message telling them there's a AK-47 here, and they get notified that there's an AK-47 over here.
Got it. So more like a notification without wasting without unmuting and using voice, basically.
So you can play the entire game even if you don't have voice, because they actually converse in the character's voice.
Yeah. No, when you said ping, my immediate thought went to like the technical side of networking ping for multiplayer, because my techie brain is kicking in.
Yep. So the answer, of course, is Apex Legends. So a very popular game, probably EA's best battle royale game released so far, and free to play, came out of nowhere, still has like a ton of users, like one of the best battle royale games out there. Cool. Next one, which multiplayer game was basically dead but revived after it was released on PS Plus?
No. Repeat the question as well for everybody.
Which multiplayer sports game, I won't call it sports, was basically dead, but it was revived when it came on PS Plus. And it has just risen in popularity after that. FIFA. When was FIFA dead? FIFA has never been dead. Think. NFL. Okay, one person got it. One person got it. Ravi got it.
There was the answer.
Rocket League.
Yeah. So actually, if you guys don't know, you guys should read up on Rocket League's story. The game was called some crazy name like physics, car, shooter, something. Like it has like a really wrong name for Rocket League.
I know.
And it, like, you know, the full name, the original one.
Yep, supersonic acrobatic rocket powered battle cars.
Yeah, exactly. So some ridiculous name, and the team was working on it for 4 5 years, and they completely scratched the project because it just wasn't working. And then after that, I think 2 3 years later, they came back to it, rebranded it, and launched it again. And then it just took off, right? So its story is very interesting. So if you guys have time, definitely Google and read it.
Yep. Last one, probably. This is which open world game popularized the idea of not having a map?
Interesting. Which open world game popularized the idea of not having a map? Are
Yep.
you talking about mini maps specifically, or just maps in general?
Maps in general, mini maps. Minecraft is a sandbox. I won't call it open world as such.
Fair
I,
enough. Tetris.
uh,
Wait, Tetris?
okay.
Interesting solution.
Open world game, guys. A lot of Pokemon Go, Souls game are not open world. I would say they are just linear games divided into separate. Elden Ring is like a proper open world game, and the game that inspired it is the answer that I'm looking for. No one, not one person has answered it so far. Elder Scrolls, Dark Souls. No,
Skyrim has maps, right?
yeah, it has.
Skyrim has maps, I remember.
Uh,
Last of Us. What is
hint,
RDR? I don't know what is RDR.
Red Dead Redemption.
Okay.
Hint, it was from Nintendo, and it's one of the most popular games in the generation. Now people get it. So Zelda Breath of the Wild, it basically gave up the entire traditional open world formula that people normally look for, and they scratched it. They were like, go explore whatever you want to and go do whatever you want to, and basically unlock the secrets of the world as you go. Elden Ring basically then took the Zelda mechanic, mashed it into with the Dark Souls difficulty curve, and produced Elden Ring.
Interesting.
Yep.
Good shit.
Yes. You guys want more? I have one more.
Yeah, let's do one more quickly.
This is more business side. And I dropped a hint to drop that in the general chat on Discord today as well. So Square Enix basically acquired Eidos Montreal, Square Enix Montreal, and other studios. They gave up their Tomb Raider IP, Deus Ex, etc., to a company today morning. Which company was the one that acquired it?
Hey, this is today morning news.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I didn't get time to see the news today. Google now. Google, guys. Google.
Microsoft. Every time there's an acquisition news, there's like Microsoft. That's the default answer. But yep, Embracer Group. Yep, that's the one. So they've been growing like crazy all over.
Piyush is saying Byju's. All right. Anyways, okay. Awesome. Elon Musk. Yeah, I think just throw in Microsoft, Elon Musk, and 2 3 more Jeff Bezos and 2 3 more names. You'll probably hit it.
They basically just sold all their Western studios almost. And Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, everything is now under Embracer.
Got it. Epic Games. Yeah. No, unfortunately not. Secret acquisition. Okay. Cool. Awesome. So thanks for taking part in this small little game. Now let's dive into some fun stuff. So Satnam or Piyush, if you guys can share the link in the chat, I'll switch over to screen share. All right, awesome. So I think Satnam has shared the link. This will be your master link for everything Launchpad related. Like anytime you have to go to something, this is the first link that you should click, because this will be your homepage. So I'm just going to quickly screen share and I'll showcase what this link looks like. Okay, let me just know if you guys can see my screen. Just give me a thumbs up or something, yes or no, in the chat.
Yep, looks good on my end.
All right, perfect, awesome. So when you click the bit.ly link that the team has shared, this is what you'll see. And this will be your homepage for everything. 1 second. Yeah, so this will be your homepage for pretty much everything related to Launchpad. Okay, you'll find all the relevant information there. Do not worry about all the details as of now. We'll cover parts of all of this information in today's call. So don't try to read everything and get distracted, but just stay focused. All right. So first, I'm going to dive into something very unorthodox that you might not have expected for us to discuss today, which is Outscale's culture, right? So if somebody knows what culture really means, can you just let me know in the chat in the context of being more professional, right? When companies talk about culture, when teams talk about culture, what exactly does it mean? So we'll be talking about this first page called Outscale Culture. We'll come back to the rest of the pieces as well. All right. Awesome. So just if you open that or you don't open that, you can just look at my screen. So can somebody tell me what exactly do they refer to when companies talk about, hey, we hire for talent that is culturally fit? All right. So are you just saying type of people and their company and the way of working, following a proper plan, respect everybody's viewpoint, work ethics, style, how you do and what you do in a company, basically means the value and the environment provided by the company, social behavior, what do you do in a workplace and how do you do it, skills. Awesome. So it looks like a lot of you guys are very close to the answers as well and kind of, have a broad idea, right? So when you talk about culture, right, in today's context, especially with companies being remote due to COVID, people are hiring international talent, distributed teams, etc., right? Culture becomes very important. Essentially, what culture means is like the hidden code that nobody officially sort of talks about, but it's part of the team itself, how the teams function, how the teams runs and behaves when nobody's sort of looking, right? So my personal favorite definition of culture is, right, when the boss is not in the room, how does the team behave, right? That's culture, because nobody's asking them to behave in a certain way, right? But when nobody's looking, how do they behave? Do they do things ethically? Do they do things correctly, right? And you'd be surprised, like, I'm here to learn game development. Why are we talking about culture, right? Because remember, the reason why I started Outscale in the first place was to make sure that there is a place where people learn about things that usually doesn't get talked about anywhere, right? When it comes to being game development and being sort of part of this gaming industry professionally, right? So even within Outscale, when you're going through any program, no matter Launchpad, full stack, something else, blah, 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 right? There is a code of culture that we follow, right? And there are certain 4 or 5 parameters that are very important for you to be successful as part of this community, right? Communication is the biggest one, right? Irrespective of where you go, right? You have to communicate. Today, being remote, right? We are on different locations. Some people are here from international countries, right? Communication becomes very important, more than you think. 80% of most people's jobs is just communication. Because if you fail at communication, like, you can't be good at anything else, no matter how good your skills are, right? So communication will become pivotal, irrespective of whether you're part of Outscale community or you're going to pursue something else professionally. Make sure you're spot on when it comes to communication, right? In this case, it doesn't matter whether you're good at English, bad at English, good at some other language, bad at language, whatever, right? Just make sure that you don't hesitate to ask. That's the only thing that you need to remember. If there is a question in your mind, just ask away, because at the end of the day, you'll never get an answer if you do not ask. Okay. So worst case, you'll get a rejection or a no or something, but that's better than not asking, right? Because you at least asked and you might have gotten a yes or move forward with whatever problem you are facing, right? So no matter what it is, good or bad, whatever it is, just feel free to ask. Okay. That's like rule number 1. right? Time management. A lot of you guys are working already in the industry. I am working, Manas is working. All of us are working in some shape or form, right? You might have college as well if you are currently in your college and you're thinking of exploring game development, right? Which means you still have time commitments to keep, whether it's with classes, bosses, deadlines, projects, freelance, whatever, right? So making sure you're on spot in terms of your time, it's going to be key as well. And that is valid for this program and pretty much anything else, right? So this program is very tight. It's on a 14-day schedule, right? And we'll talk about the course curriculum in a bit. But for people who are really interested in exploring, right? If you are good with time management, or at least are trying to make sure that you're valuing your time, right? Then you'll be able to succeed and take away the most out of this program. Okay. And here, remember, right? Time is the only leverage. The only difference between all of us here and Elon Musk is that we all have the same amount of time. No matter how much bank balance one person has or popularity they have, time is the only true unifier in the whole world, right? So it's all about, it comes down to how you use time today and tomorrow that sets you up for that future, right? So make sure that you're very diligent about time and you're not wasting time as well. Okay. The overall community and learning. So you've already seen me talk about community multiple times. And the first thing we asked was Discord, right? Because that's a very integral part of the overall, Outscale ecosystem and how we envision, helping a lot more people to get into gaming space, right? And game development space as well, right? Peer-to-peer learning is a very big component of it, which means that if you're facing a doubt, there are channels within the Discord community that Manas will share in a bit, where you can ask literally any fucking doubt. You have the most dumbest doubt that you think is, you are free to ask. Nobody's going to criticize you that, hey, why are you asking this doubt? This seems stupid. Because other people in the community have been in that place where they were just starting and they didn't know, and somebody else was there, part of the community, to help them, right? So this peer-to-peer learning is very important. But again, in order for that to happen, you have to follow rule number one, which is, if you hesitate to ask questions, nobody will come forward to help, right? So you have to be open to ask every possible question, and then the community members will come forward to help you out. And there's already a framework available that you can follow in the Discord community to ask for help. And that's how you are able to share your learnings. And tomorrow somebody else will join the community and you will be able to share your learnings with them as well. Okay. Mentors. So this is something that, Manas introduced himself as a mentor. I introduced myself as a mentor, right? There's a big difference between a mentor and a teacher. We do not, within Outscale, we do not follow a teacher philosophy. Nobody's going to sit and teach you. Once you are in the industry, nobody gives a fuck about who you are and what you do, right? All they care about is, are you able to deliver on what you were hired to do? If you were hired to be an engineer, are you able to implement the code that you're expected, right? And are you able to do it with quality, right? If you are hired as an artist or as a designer or as a animator or as a sound guy or as a producer, no matter what your role is, right? In the industry, nobody's your real friend, right? Because when somebody has hired you, they have first hired you not for your social skills, but for the hard skills that you bring to the table. Okay. And that's where it's very important to understand how to learn and grow on the job by asking right questions, right? And that's where, a mentor comes in. The role of Outscale's mentors are to guide you when you ask a question, but do not expect spoon feeding, right? They will not teach you how to do things. You will be given access to learning resources. You'll be given direction on how to get started by building your projects. But then you have to take that first step, put in the time and the effort to start learning through the resources and the program shared. And then on the live sessions, on the mentor sessions, which we'll just share in a bit, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions. So imagine there's a 2-hour mentor session happening and I'm your mentor, right? If nobody asks me a question regarding, hey, Mayank, I'm doing my animations, but my animations are not working. What am I doing wrong? Then I'll ask questions like, okay, did you set this up? Did you do this? Did you not do this? Did you figure this out? Etc. etc. But if nobody asks me question in that mentor session, we're going to have 2 hours of dead silence, right? I'm not going to teach you shit, right? Because that's not my job, right? My job is to guide you when you get stuck, to make you think deeper based on the things that you might not have understood, or you might have understood it in not an incorrect, in an incorrect way, right? So that's the role of a mentor, which is different from a teacher. Everybody would have gone to a school or a college where they would know what a teacher does, right? We expect that you are smart. You all are all smart because you have been selected based on the details that you shared as part of the scholarship process, right? So that's why there is a basic selection process involved, so that you do not expect us to spoon feed you. If you do, this is not going to be a good fit. I can tell you right now. If you expect I'm going to sit here and somebody's going to teach me, sorry, buddy, not going to work that way. Okay. So, and that it doesn't work. The reason why it doesn't work here is because it doesn't work in the industry as well. Programmers need to learn how to learn on the job. And that's very important because today's skills are changing as well. Okay. If we are at a starting stage, the question right now, just in the chat, that's okay, because then the study material that you'll start with is also at a starting level. We are not going to throw you into advanced level topics because you're just getting started. So we'll talk about how the study material is going to be custom for everybody. And, that way, if you are at a starting stage versus if you already have 2-3 years of experience, how the study material is going to change for you, so that it meets your challenge, right? Like at what challenge level do you need it to be? Okay, kind of like game. If you say easy difficulty, medium difficulty, hard difficulty, it's kind of like that, right? So not everybody's going to get thrown into hard difficulty mode. Okay. Feedback, that's the last one. This is something we highly encourage. If you find something good, let us know. There is a thank you system in Discord. You can thank anybody if somebody helped you, and it basically is a way to show your appreciation for anybody that helped you in the community. If you find something bad, if you think something can be improved, there's going to be feedback forms inside the study material that you can anytime fill in anonymously, etc. You don't need to tell us who you are in order to leave feedback, but we always appreciate honest feedback. Whether it's good or bad, we don't care. If it is bad feedback, we'll work hard on improving it. If it is good feedback, we'll take it as sense of pride that yes, we are doing something good that our community members are liking. Okay. So feedback. You'll see me, Malhar, rest of the Outskirt team, Manas, all of us asking again and again for feedback, partly because we also want to understand, how are we doing? Where are we fucking up? Where are we making a mistake? And in case your feedback is not getting heard, feel free to DM either Manas, me, Satnam, Piyush, anybody in the team directly as well, right? It doesn't matter what, even it can be smallest of possible feedback. Feel free to DM us. Feedback is something that we take very seriously. Okay. So that's a little bit about the culture code without diving too much more into it. Any quick questions that I can answer on this one, and then we'll move forward. Okay. There are some questions. If you are starting here after these 15 days of training and this Launchpad, will we get any jobs? If you are in the beginner track, it will be difficult because beginner track is, again, if there was a magic pill that somebody can get a job after just 15 days of basic programming, unfortunately, industry expects more details. And for people who are looking for job opportunities, that's where full stack game development program is. I'll talk a little bit about it towards the later stage, but first understand Launchpad. Okay. But if you're already at an advanced level, right, maybe Launchpad can help you get a job as well. But that's only for people who are already at the advanced level, not for folks who are at just getting started. So this is more about getting to understand what game development is all about, because there are a lot of misconceptions that people have as well. Okay. You don't need to download anything Notion. It's just a public web page. You just click the link and it opens up in any browser. Okay. I'm in 12th standard. Can I start? Absolutely. The age is no barrier for Launchpad. Okay. What does Outskills team day-to-day look like than other awesome mentor sessions? Like other than these awesome mentor sessions? Brahmar, that's a slightly out of scope question right now. Let me come back to it if we have more time at the end of the Q&A. I'll be happy to answer those as well, right? I don't have the link. Team, can you just share the link once more, please? I have read an article recently in which it was mentioned that CoinSwitch is offering 82 candidates for 2 years of experience, expect the same kind of package in game development too. Unfortunately, no. A lot of the times when you hear this hype regarding companies offering XYZ, you can get it, but I have personally not seen it, right? So for realistically speaking, right, as of today, what I see, a 2-year good solid experience can get you somewhere around 25-30 lakhs per annum, which is in INR. for folks who are international, right? And that's more than ample as a starting salary, right? For any individual developer and their family needs. But if your primary motivation is just CTC ranges, then I can tell you right now, the broader tech industry, full stack web development will pay you more. A lot of people do this because of passion, not because of this, but that doesn't mean that they have to compromise on salary. There are still salaries that are very good in terms of industry standard, provided you are able to showcase the skills. Okay. How internship, scope of gaming industry software, giant full stack game development course. Okay, I'm just going through the questions quickly because it seems like there are way too many questions. Some of these are more broader questions related to the industry, such as salary related, job opportunities, careers, etc. So what we will do is we'll not take up all those questions right now, because some will get answered during the call, some will get answered towards the end. So we'll come back to these questions. Okay. All right, awesome. So I think Manas, you're up next. You're on mute.
Sorry. So hi guys. Just wanted to get an overview of the kind of people we are dealing with over here as well. So just wanted to get an idea if you guys have built any games in the past. So I'll probably just share another poll so that we get an idea of what kind of audience we are dealing with. So there should be another poll on your screen. Okay, Mike, can you see the poll? Because
yes, I can. One second, I'll make it live.
Yep.
Yep, there it is.
Yep, you're logged in from another folder. Okay.
All right, so I think there are just a couple of quick short questions. Just want to understand majority of your folks sort of background so that we get a broader understanding, because we talked about advanced track, basic track, etc. And we'll just get into those details now. All right, we'll just wait for another 10 seconds to straightforward questions. If anything's not clear, just drop it in the chat.
Yep, Nikhil share session recording will be shared. So
yes,
it's also being live streamed on YouTube, so you can find it on our YouTube as well.
Perfect, awesome. So I think I'm gonna end the poll in 5, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. All right. Okay, so looks like a good number of folks. I'm just going to quickly share the results as well. You can see the screen in terms of how many folks have some kind of a past experience. So it seems like a fairly even split. A lot of folks have not done any coding and never built a game, but there are a good, close to one third of an audience who have built games in the past as well. So I think this will be awesome in terms of understanding, how you guys will approach the different options in terms of what Launchpad has to offer. Right, some folks are already professionally into game development. All right, perfect, awesome. So Manas, take it from here.
Cool. Hi guys. Outside of this, just wanted to give you a quick overview as to why you guys are here. So let me know if you guys can see my screen. Yes, no. Yep.
Yes.
Cool. So again, going back to the master page, this is going to be your holy grail. Like Mayank said, any doubts, any questions, go to the master page. You'll find everything over there. You'll also find, like Mayank shared, the outscale culture. I just wanted to give you an overview of what exactly Launchpad is. So Launchpad basically is our 2-week scholarship based program. So we got many applications. We curated and handpicked people who were eligible for the Launchpad program, and that's why you guys are here. And it's basically a 2-week program for people who are trying to get into the gaming industry and want to try their hand at game development. So it's more for people who are brand new. Doesn't matter if you want to become a programmer, maybe you just want to explore the industry, maybe you want to, it's just a hobby that you want to see, try your hand at game development and see if it's the right fit for you. So that's what the Launchpad program was tailored towards. It again is tailored towards all kind of experience, and that's why we did the poll earlier as well. So regardless of whether you're from a game dev background or not, maybe you're brand new to programming, maybe you've already built games, there is something that is there to take away for all kind of experience levels. So the Launchpad program will be tailored to all your needs and all your experience levels. And yeah, I'll elaborate on it further as we go along. There's going to be separate tracks for different levels of experience. So if you say are someone who has never touched any programming language in the past, and you were just clueless as to where you're supposed to fucking go, right? The track one is going to be the beginner track for you, for example, where you'll be learning how to create a C++ text-based game. Similarly, there's going to be an intermediate track for people who know how to code but are basically brand new to game development. So learning Unity, learning how Unity works as a tool, etc. All of that will be covered in track 2. And if you've already worked in Unity, track 3 is the one for you, and you'll be working on more advanced level design patterns, stuff, etc. And that's basically the different tier levels. Duration of the program again is going to be 2 weeks. Yeah, so I'll be the one mentoring you regardless of your experience level. So in any case, if you guys feel that okay, I'm getting overwhelmed in case there are some track 2, track 3 questions being discussed, don't worry. Stop me right there and tell me, okay, I'm not able to understand, can you help me out, etc. How it works again, you'll be seeing me from Monday to Saturday, 7 to 9. And there'll be daily sessions like today again on Zoom itself. And that's basically going to be the flow for the next 7 days. Again, if you go to the master page, you'll see the entire calendar about what's going to be discussed on what day. So that should help you guys out as well. All of the study material is already, learning resources will already be shared with you. So if you if you select your track, you should be able to then see all of your study material as well as the assignments that we expect you to submit for those as well. You can work on assignments on your own time. Again, we guys get it. There's a lot of guys from different time zones, a lot of guys who are already working, not able to commit the time that they want to the program. We get it that you won't be able to be here from 7 to 9 daily. But regardless of that, all the study material as it's available to you guys, you can access it at any time, do your assignments at any time. In case you guys have doubts, the Discord community is also there 24/7 to help you guys out. Outside of that, you can then hop into the mentor sessions to get your doubts solved in real time as well. Again, we expect you to dedicate a minimum of 2 hours a day to make sure you're able to finish the track that's allotted to you. So again, outside of the mentor sessions, try to give as much time as you can. If you say finish the track 2, for example, quickly, you're completely open to start exploring track 3 and experimenting with more advanced level stuff as well. So that's basically how we've structured the program so that it's flexible as well and at the same time rewarding for you as well. What is the end goal? Again, depends. If you're say brand new to programming, the end goal might be as simple as learning a language and making a basic game based on that language, right? It might be you want to learn Unity and make your first game. Again, outside of that, it might be you already know how to make games but are not able to understand how to crack interviews and want to understand more advanced level stuff. So all of that will be covered in track 3 advanced. That's basically going to be it. Outside of that, the Launchpad program is also going to serve as the gateway to the full stack program. So people who be shortlist as eligible for the full stack program will only be the ones who get an opportunity to get a seat for full stack. So I'll be keeping a close watch on how you're performing in the mentor sessions, what your submissions are you active within the community, or are you just attending or submitting for the sake of submitting? So again, we are not going to track you by your marks. It's all going to be tracked based on your uh, engagement as well as the kind of questions that we are looking to get from people. How do you get started? Again, the 3 tracks that are mentioned, we've already recommended tracks to all of you based on the answers that you've given us. So if you answered, for example, I have no experience, I'm brand new to programming on the form, we've already curated track 1 for you. you can go on the master page and you should be able to get your track recommendations right over there. So you can get your track recommendations over here as well as over here. Just go to the link, press Ctrl F, search your name, and it should give you your track recommendation. And that's how you can basically get started. On the master page, you'll also find the curriculum. So to after you get your track recommendation, you can basically get started with all the 3 tracks over here. So as soon as you click over here, it should give you a list of all the study material as well as the assignments for each track. So you guys can get started on that front as well. Cool.
I think, Manas, if you can just go back to Notion and quickly share the track view, how people can see their track information, like which track is recommended.
Yep, sure. So since Lakshay is on camera, I'll quickly search for his name and see if we can get his track. So this link here. Let's Control F, Lakshay Rajat. Cool. So it's supposed to be track 1, Lakshay, for you. So you're supposed to start off with track 1. So you can simply then go back here, course curriculum, and then once you click on track 1, get started on track 1. All click here for all the study material, and to submit your assignments, you will probably click here.
Yep, awesome. I've just dropped the link again in case somebody doesn't have it. Sorry. So I think there were a couple of questions in the chat. Do we have Manas instructions there regarding if somebody does not see their name in the track, what should they do?
Yep, just drop an email at admissions+lp@outskirt.com. It's mentioned again on the master page.
If you can probably just screen share and show so that everybody can see it. So in case the audience, if in case anybody does not see their name there, ideally it should be, but if there is some issue with the data or something, if you go back to the page itself, it has instructions as to what you need to do in order to see. I think it's under the get your track recommendation. Yeah, so at the bottom of the screen, you can see that if you're not able to see your name, just send us a quick email on this email ID and the team will help you get started. Please include in your name, email as well, full name and email that you used as part of the sign up process, and we'll figure out what happened. Why is your name not visible? Okay. All right. Any questions so far? I think I tried my best to answer the questions in the chat, but I might have missed a few. Generally, tracks is just a recommendation. Okay. In case you might have misprovided some data as part of the scholarship process, right? Imagine you might have said that I am a working professional or I have game development experience, but you don't, right? Maybe you accidentally clicked it or something, right? In that case, feel free to choose another track. The recommendation is just based on what we understand your background to be. But if the reality is something else, please choose a different track. That's why all the tracks are actually accessible. No track is hidden. So you don't get access to only the track that we have recommended for you. You get access to the other tracks as well. And this is for 2 reasons. One, if the data was incorrect that you provided as part of scholarship, and you are already a pro developer and have good experience, you can start with the advanced version. Or if you are comfortable, somebody asked that I'm comfortable with C#, but I don't know C++, right? That's okay. If you start on the C++ track, you'll learn C++. But if you want to start on the C# track because you've already done C#, you can start on the C# Unity fundamentals track. Okay, so that's not a problem. All right. And broadly, there was one question regarding certificates, and I'll just answer this for everyone. We do not give certificates. We do not give a fuck about certificates, right? There is a website called canva.com, which lets you create a free account and create any kind of simple graphics. Go and create as many fucking certificates you want. Nobody gives a fuck about certificates anymore in the industry. Okay, that's our stance regarding certificates. So please don't waste your time thinking that you will get a certificate. You're here to learn something new. meet other exciting folks in the industry, learn about, game development, see whether you want to pursue this as a career opportunity. I see a lot of people laughing in the chat, but this is our exact stance on certificates. This is a 15-day program. We don't give certificates to our students who finish our 7-month program, right? Because there the goal is to get a job. So nobody in the fucking world gives a certificate. And if you think that certificates are going to help you professionally anywhere, the only person you're fooling is yourself, right? Any senior that tells you, or any professor that tells you in college that this certificate is going to help you, kick them in their asses, all right? And tell them I kicked them, right? Share my name. And it's okay, because no fucking buddy gives a shit, all right? So present your skills, not your certificate, all right? And no harsh feeling to anybody who asked the question regarding certificates. I'm not pushing hard on the person who asked for it. I'm just saying that degrees and certificates are absolutely meaningless in today's world. It's all about skills, or at least for the 99% of the technical world and the technology world, which includes the gaming industry as well. People are moving to a skill first mentality rather than degrees and certificates first mentality. All right. So apologies for my French, but that's our stance on certificates. All right. I just get very passionate about this certificate topic, so my apologies there. All right, awesome. So I think there were some questions regarding what is full stack, etc. as well. Some of you might already be familiar with it. So let me take the next sort of 5 to 7 minutes to give you guys a quick overview about what is full stack all about. So all of you are here to explore Launchpad, right? This is kind of like a gateway, to game development. The way I think about it is how people talk about weed as the gateway to drugs. I think about Launchpad as a gateway to game dev and getting hooked into game development, if that is the thing at all, right? That is something that you're very passionate about, right? So here you can find full stack. There's a dedicated page for full stack, okay? So there are two broader sections. One is just a quick overview that I'll walk you guys through. And then there is a detailed page that you guys can go through yourself as well, all right? So full stack, FSGD in short, is nothing but full stack game development program. So this is the first program that Outscale had launched back 3 years back. It's a 7-month program. It's part-time, which means that on average, you will be spending about 3 to 4 hours per day. It's focused on programming and game development, or specifically game programming. So if you're interested in design, art, animation, then this would not be a good fit for you, okay? The special aspect about the program is that it comes in with 100% placement support, which means that we already partner with a lot of game companies to help our students get into job opportunities, provided they are looking for job opportunities. There have been students who are now starting their own startups and wanted to build the skill set for game development, right? So in that case, if you're not interested in job opportunities, nobody's going to pressurize you to take up a job, but basically the support is there, okay? What is covered in the program? Typically, C++, data structures and algorithms, Unity fundamentals, Unity advanced, and these are the core topics that will get covered. Everything will be done through projects. The culture code that we follow is the same that I talked about, Outscale culture. So there are no teachers, it's mentors. You have a community to discuss doubt with. You will have your own cohort, very much like the Launchpad clan. There is full stack clans. You will have those clans to discuss and sort of form long-term relationships with, and at the end of the day, by the time you finish full stack, you will basically have 20 plus projects to cover as well, right? Mentors I've already talked about. These mentors usually are either internal Outscale team members who also come from the gaming industry, or broadly people from the tech industry. We have mentors from Amazon, Microsoft, etc., who usually cover topics like C++, data structures and algorithms. And then we have mentors from game companies who cover Unity fundamentals and Unity advanced, okay? For FSGD, there is a little bit of a selection criteria. One, you need to be 18 years and above. English communication is definitely very important. You'll see, right? Like communication I talked about as culture, right? All of these are actually core essence of the program slash the product community, right? You have to complete one track in Launchpad. It doesn't matter which track, but if you do not complete a track in Launchpad, you will never be eligible for full stack no matter what, right? It just does not matter, because the full stack audience, we do only very small cohorts, right? Hardly in a single full stack cohort, we'll have 12, 13, 15, maximum 20 people, right? And we are very selective on who we take into that cohort. And that's where, if you have not completed Launchpad, there is no way that you will get access to full stack. Okay. And that's how we, evaluate if somebody is really interested in becoming professionally into game dev, right? Professional into game dev means you are looking for starting your own studio. You're looking to get into building your own projects as an indie developer, or you want to get into opportunities. All of those construct form professional development. You're not just doing it as a Saturday, Sunday, weekend thing, but you're doing it as a career, as a main means of earning a living, right? So that's what it is. Okay. For Launchpad, you just have to make sure that you maintain your submissions on time, right? That will be important. So somebody had asked this question regarding AR, VR as well earlier in the chat. I didn't answer it at that stage. But when we talk about the opportunities broadly in the gaming space, right? A lot of people have this misconception that when we talk about opportunities, it's only related to game companies. That is not the case today. So if you're generally aware of things like Unity and Unreal as game engines, right? And C++ and other languages that are preferred in the game development space, a lot of these same technologies are getting used outside the gaming industry, right? For example, a lot of AI companies are actually using, your Unity engine to build game simulations where they're training their AI, right? All these self-driving car companies are using some form of game technology in order to build AI and train that AI in a virtual world, right? There are a lot of AR, VR companies that are using the same technology stack as well. So we have seen people who have gone through the full stack program are now working with these diverse set of companies. So some people get turned off by saying, hey, I don't want to work on games, but I really love the physics aspect of it, or physics programming, or something else, animations, etc. So there are a lot more opportunities today compared to what existed 10 years back, just because the same technologies are getting used across the board as well. Okay. There are some numbers regarding like what kind of placements we see, etc., but not going to talk too many details right now. There will be a later, a later session next week dedicated to people who are more interested about full stack, and we'll share those details in more specific points in that session as well. Okay. But one thing we have seen is we have seen close to 100% placement record. That is something that we are personally proud of, partly because we are very choosy about the right fit. Again, the right culture fit. We do the program in a certain way because we understand what this industry needs. And that's why we see such a high selection rate, because if we see that you might not be a good culture fit, we'll let you know, because it's no point you wasting 7 months of your time doing something and not being successful at it because you were not a good culture fit. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. Then you can go through these projects. These are all sort of LinkedIn pages where you can actually see the projects that students that had graduated earlier, what kind of projects that they made, right? So here you can see Rahul Pawar, who shared this 10 months back, right? So all of this information is available, and he was making some kind of a Flappy Bird kind of a game, or like a scroller kind of a game, etc., with like this platform spawning, etc., etc., right? So all of these are actually links to projects that students have published from the past who are going through the full stack game development program. And this is just like a very short selected list. You'll find more projects available on LinkedIn as well. So you can check out what kind of projects students get to make. You can go and connect with them, get to know about their experience, etc. as well. And that will give you more indication about whether full stack program is going to be ever a good fit for you or not, right? So that's a basic overview about full stack. There's a lot more information just because it's a 7-month program. It's not something very small. The full details are available in this page. Unfortunately, today, because the focus is Launchpad, I'll not be going into these details. We will have a session next week for folks that might be interested to know more specifics about full stack. But meanwhile, you can go through this page directly. If you think you are ever interested, you can anytime come back to this page, fill this short form here, and then our team would connect with you to understand why you are interested in this program, etc., etc. Okay, that's pretty much it regarding full stack. Let me see if there are some quick questions here. Does Outskirt also have other programs like full stack for game designers and under other disciplinary skills and fields? Unfortunately not. That's a good question. Right now we are heavily focused towards engineering, and that's where our current focus is. There is a big shortage of developers in the industry. There are other places where people can go to learn about game art and game design. They're not that good, so we do have that in the future roadmap, but as of now our focus is 100% engineering, because we work with companies like GSN, who has been recently acquired by Scopely. We work with studios like MPL, etc., as well, to help them hire talent, and majority focus is towards engineering. But tracks like design and game entrepreneurship, game design, sound, animation, these are things that we are also very excited about launching. But I think with a small team, there's only so much we can do. So we'll do it definitely sometime in the future. Okay. Yeah, so Vishwadeep mentioned that there is already demand for game developers for metaverse. That's absolutely the case. We are already seeing a lot of companies that are building metaverse. Metaverse is a very loose term. That's why, not very specific there, but yes, you're correct. Companies that are working on metaverse related products, whether it's in the Web 2 or the Web 3 space, they're also hiring talent from us. So yeah.
Yep. Shameless plug. We hosted a company working on metaverse projects recently on YouTube. So go ahead and check that talk out.
We hosted the founder for a conversation as well. Yes. Awesome. Have you worked with Dream 11? I've heard they're also going into game dev. So can't disclose, but yes, there are some talks already on. We'll make the announcement once the talks finalize. So yes, Dream 11, definitely there are conversations ongoing. Okay, can I enroll into full stack few months after completing the Launchpad since I have exams? Yeah, so once you complete Launchpad and you're eligible for full stack, you can defer for a few months here and there if there are personal commitments that you need to take care of, etc. That's usually something that we'll take into account, because we understand it's a heavy duty commitment, etc. Okay. Harsh is asking if FSGD is free or not. Harsh, FSGD is not free for sure. The details are available there on the detailed page, but you can go through them as well, and then we'll cover them in full details in terms of the different fee options, etc. In a later conversation. I think towards the end of this week or next week, we'll send an announcement when we are talking about a dedicated session to talk about full stack. Just that it takes longer than what we want to spend today. Today, the focus we want to keep on Launchpad. Okay. Can I apply for full stack if I am not 18? You can send us an email. We'll figure it out. There are certain things we need to worry about if you're under 18. Okay. Awesome. Cool. So I think now is just a time for going live with one last quick question. This will be the last one, short and sweet question. The poll should be live on your screen. Just based on a little bit of information that you've gotten, just want to know if you would in future be interested in full stack or not. It's not that you'll be asked to join if you say yes or no or something. You can always change your answer, but it's just for us to understand. Okay. All right, perfect. We'll just close the poll in another 5 to 7 seconds. Fairly short and sweet. I think after this, Manas, you're up. All right, poll ending in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, gone. All right, so looks like 46% people said yes, they would definitely like to do this. 45% people said, maybe they'll think about it. That's okay. That's what Launchpad is, to let you explore, right? And some said no, that's all right as well. Perfect. All right, let's move on.
Yep. Let's shift focus as to how we can add value to you outside of these Zoom sessions as well. So I hope most of you have already joined our Discord community. If you have not, you guys are missing out. I'll tell you what you guys are missing out on uh, right now. So just let me know if you guys can see my screen. Yep.
Yes, works.
Cool. So, guys, as soon as you join our Discord, if you're already eligible for our Launchpad program, you'll notice that you might have been asked to run a command on the bot. I can see a lot of people already running it and getting access to the Launchpad clan channel. So, all of the announcements that we want to make going forward will be made on the Launchpad clan free channel. You'll see that if you're brand new to Discord, these are called basically the different text channels that we have. So if you want to just have a quick chat, generally you can chat over here. If you want to introduce yourself, you chat over here. All the announcements for Launchpad Clan 3 will be made over here. So you'll notice that you guys don't have permissions for posting messages because this is more only an announcement channel for you guys. So every time we want to share some important info with you, you'll find it over here. So all of you guys should ideally have access to the Launchpad Clan 3 now, channel by now. If you have not run the command on the bot, make sure you run it right now and get access to your channel. In case you're not running into any issues, again, mail us at admissions plus lp at outskirt.com and we'll help you out over there as well. Outside of that, you'll see that we've already created different channels for our doubt solving. You'll see that we have different channels for programming doubts. We have different channels for game development doubts. So you can already see that someone over here has already tagged me uh, in the C Sharp channel. So if you see, they've not explicitly tagged me. It's more of a help programming role that you can take up. So in case you have some experience or you just want to learn from other people's mistakes, you can also take the help programming role by going to the choose roles section. Just react over here and you should get access to the different roles in the community. And every time there's a doubt with the help programming tag attached to it, you will be notified for that. Plus you can help each other out. And going forward, if you want to post a doubt, you can tag help programming and other people in the community can help you guys out outside of the mentor sessions as well. So you'll be surprised as to how many people are actually doing their assignments at 12 or 1 a.m. in the night along with you. So you can find and post your doubts over there at any time. Outside of that, we also have separate channels for game development, for careers. You'll see that we regularly post job posts on the job posting channel as well. So all the different jobs in the gaming industry, you'll find access to over here. And that's basically about it. There's different voice channels for you in case you guys want to discuss something. And you'll see that there is a lot of these guys who are basically doing the full stack program right now. They are basically working together and figuring stuff out together on the voice channels as well. So that's basically about it. We also host like events regularly, which you can get access to over here. So you'll see that the Launchpad 3 kickoff event is going on right now. Outside of this, we have like a fun super gaming night where Malhar, our mentor for full stack, he plays, the entire community comes together and plays games. And there's another event called Clan Labs that Mayank hosts. So it's basically a discussion with the entire community where everyone on Discord can come in and have a chat with Mayank about anything that's going on in the gaming industry. So that is also a regular occurrence on our Discord server as well. So that's basically about it. You guys feel free to ask doubts, feel free to DM us or ping us on Discord if in case you guys face any difficulties that cannot be solved outside of say the inside the mentor sessions or outside of the operational issues that you guys might be facing. Cool. So that's basically about it. I hope you guys have access to the Launchpad channel right now. So Can you guys give me like a thumbs up in case you already have access to the Launchpad Plan 3 text channel? Nope. Lakshya, if you don't, the instructions for that are already on the master page. You can go there and get the instructions and get access to the Launchpad Plan 3 channel. Cool. Sounds good.
All right, awesome. Cool. I think that's majority of all the information. We'll do a little bit of a fun activity towards the end, but now essentially we are open up for Q&A. So feel free to ask any doubts. I'll start with one question that I noticed in the chat regarding why are we studying C++ when Unity uses C#? So this is probably a very common question that we get. Generally speaking, C++ is still very commonly used in the industry. Partly the reason is it's one of the best languages when you care about performance optimization. When you're working on consoles where you have to have very high quality graphics and you are limited in terms of the capability of the device itself, even though they seem very powerful, but they're doing some very fantastic shit in terms of real-time graphics and whatnot, right? C++ is still the preferred language. So when you learn C++ and C#, what essentially you're doing is that it's very difficult to learn two game engines and really master them, right? So, even in full stack, even here, right, you'll see us not teach Unreal specifically, right? The reason is that you have to pick one and master that, right? In our case, we have chosen Unity because we see a lot more opportunities professionally for Unity, lesser opportunities compared to Unreal. Unreal has lesser opportunities compared to Unity, right? So what we have done is that in terms of our program designers, we have always picked up Unity as the primary game engine, but then you focused on learning fundamentals of computer science, such as data structures and algorithms with C++. So what this does is that it helps you prepare with C++ and brings C++ as your strong skill set along with C# and Unity. So in the job environment, once you are in the job, right, you can actually switch to Unreal because you know one game engine very well. And you will be surprised how much of the fundamentals of one game engine transfer over into another game engine as well, right? So if you understand how physics work, right, how collisions work, how animations work, even though the engine will look and feel different, but the fundamentals remain the same, right? So then you're able to learn Unreal because you know one programming language, which is C++, and you know Unity game engine as well. So that's where the combination gives you the leverage to take up jobs in the Unreal space as well, right? And that's how we have sort of thought through in terms of how to design the program that can help you achieve both, right? Somebody has done Unreal very well. So if you know C++, great. Then a lot of the language aspects of C++ will transfer over to C#, and a lot of the engine level knowledge of Unreal will transfer over to Unity. So it will be a good test of skill to understand that can you take that knowledge and transfer it into another engine. Okay, so you can do the reverse actually. Okay. I see my name twice in that recommendation. So just a doubt. If you see your name twice, just send us a quick email. We'll see, because sometimes we see that names are common. So multiple people with same name would have applied. So it might not be that it's a duplicate entry, but if you see a duplicate entry or you see, two names, just send us an email with your full email ID that you applied with and the name, etc. And we'll let you know which is yours specifically. Unfortunately, there was no easy way. We did not want to make any private information public as well. Okay. All right, cool. Manas, you want to take a couple of questions? I just need to get one thing done.
Sure thing. In the meantime, there was someone who asked, like, why is Unity not using C++, right? So internally, surprise, Unity is also written in C++ like any other game engine. All they've done is they've wrapped all their C++ code into C# in order to make sure it's approachable. So as For a lot of people, C++ as a starting language is very daunting. So in order to make game development more accessible, they focus more on C Sharp because it gives them the leverage, and they basically don't need to worry about memory leaks, garbage collection. Everything is taken care of by C Sharp itself. Again, I hope I answered your question. Companies want OpenGL, DirectX in addition to Unity. How will we pick up those skills? Plus, low-level graphic APIs can become really complicated to grasp. It takes time, yes, but in if you're very good at Unity, there will always be companies who are willing to take a chance on basically good guys who are very good at Unity and C++ because they are willing to train you in OpenGL, DirectX. Outside of this, there are resources that we can also share across with you in case you want to go deep into DirectX and OpenGL as well. So we do have study material and resources for OpenGL and DirectX companies as well. So you'll get access to that, all of that along the way. Java, C++, indie game dev.
And I'll just add one more thing there, right? Like there are a lot of companies that use these kind of custom technology as well, like Manas was mentioning, right? What we have seen is actually a lot of companies are taking very seriously upskilling of their employees and team members. Sorry, one second. Let me just grab a little bit.
Yep. So you'll note what we've noticed, like Mayank was saying, is companies are willing to invest in talent who have their fundamentals and basics right? So they're willing to give in the time and effort to companies, to candidates who have their basics right, their foundation is right, and they are willing to invest time in training them and getting them to upskill to make sure they are able to work on their internal projects going forward.
Yeah, exactly. So do not worry if you're able to clear their fundamentals, right? For example, we know specific companies that use Cocos, right? Which is not even in the top two engines, right? Unity and Unreal, right? So there are companies that are working on web technologies, right? Are using HTML5 engines, and they're hiring Unity talent because they are good game developers, right? And game programmers. And once they are in the job, they're helping them set up with the right resources and mentorship to help them sort of, transition into that technology. See, at the end of the day, fundamentally, when you are starting a job or a professional role as a game programmer, right, your job is the same as a software developer, which is solve problems, right? Build games, but then in the games itself, there are technical problems to solve, right? How do I implement achievement system? How do I implement mini maps? How do I implement level unlocking, etc., right? All these are nothing but technical problems to solve at the end of the day, just that you are doing it inside games, right? So companies look at fundamentals more than anything else. Frank, and I'll give you a very concrete example. There is a company, I forgot their name right now. Let me just think of it. I'll share it later. But basically, they were transitioning from an Android native application to a game application, right? And they had 3 years experienced engineer who was with them from day one. It's a young startup, well-funded, etc., right? And they were pivoting into a game product, right? Earlier, they were building a native app in Android. They got their engineering team to go through the full stack program and become game developers. These are people with 3+ years experience within those companies, and the company paid for the program, right? Because a lot of companies are realizing that good talent is hard to come by. And if you have already demonstrated that skill, that you're good and you're continuing to work for the team and you're rightly motivated, etc., right? Companies will invest in you, right? In your upskilling, in your learning, etc., right? So it's always focus on the fundamentals. Make sure your fundamentals are rock solid, right? And then companies will do whatever they can to help you stay with them as well, because at the end of the day, it's a win-win situation for both, right? So hopefully that makes sense. Somebody had asked me regarding assets. I forgot who. The chat has scrolled up quite a lot. But basically, for the Unity projects, there is a starter place that you can start with, and it will have your assets that you can start with. But after that, you're free to choose whatever you want, right? If you want to go with custom assets, you can. That's not a problem. At the end of the day, programming is the focus. So make sure you focus on programming. Okay. All right. Any other questions that we see?
Long does every day Zoom session take place? 7 to 9, 2 hours every day. Site. Modders are better than game developers. Depends. If it's a Bethesda game, yes. If it's not, again, like
I think, how do you say better, right?
yeah,
Like, a lot of people ask a question, but think about the question, right? Like, what do you mean better? Are they better in skill? Are they better in what exactly? Right? Like, it depends on who's looking, right? If my goal is to build games from scratch, right? By becoming a modder, will I become better? No, right? Like, it's not aligned with my career objective or my mission, right? What I want to do for myself, right? So better is very subjective. What might be better for you might not be better for me, right? So when you're talking about an individual, especially from a career perspective, right, think about what is exactly who's thinking about it. So if you are more interested in just modding games, then probably you shouldn't become a developer. You should just do mods, right? You can still use development skill set to mod games which are more challenging, because some games would require you to write code or at least modify code while you're modding shit, right? But it's sort of who's sort of thinking about it, right? Hopefully that answers that question. um, for full stack game development, do we need to clear all three tracks? No, just one, right? You can clear multiple if you're curious about learning other aspects as well. And we definitely encourage you to, check out multiple tracks, but you have to at minimum clear one. Okay. Elaborate on the scholarship. Shivanshu, there's no scholarship for full stack, unfortunately, sorry. So we'll talk about specific options for that in the next week's session. Okay, the announcement, etc., will be shared. I'll not go too specific into the full stack just because it's a very lengthy topic. Tanmay is asking, should we focus on competitive coding because other CS students are focusing on DS? I'll give competitive coding. Good question, Tanmay. So for folks who might not know, competitive coding is sort of in like not specifically a branch of computer science, but it's more about an art style in some sense, where you're going deep into solving data structures, programming problems, algorithmic program problems, but in a more sort of a performance optimized way, right? Your focus is to do problem solving fast and come up with the most optimized solution as fast as you can, right? In a sort of a time crunch manner, right? So if you're familiar with platforms like HackerRank, HackerEarth, etc., they also encourage this kind of an online test evaluation for software developers. A lot of the tech companies broadly use the same approach. So if your goal, Tanmay, because you're here, I'm guessing your goal is to think about game development. In that case, competitive programming is not needed, because one big difference between the broader tech industry and the gaming industry is that when you're looking to hire software engineers, right, they're looking at solid fundamental skills, but not to the level of competitive programming, because you need to balance that out with game development skills as well, which is about knowledge about physics, knowledge about how does collision work, knowledge about how to make animations work, knowledge about a little bit about when a designer says that they want this level to be done this way, what does they really mean, right? But for a regular tech industry, software developers don't need to know this. They only need to master the shit out of just computer science problems, which is data structures and algorithms, right? Especially because this pattern has been set by a lot of these FANG companies, right? Who don't care about whether you know active development or not. So there, Google's and the Meta of the world, once you get in, they can spend 6 months teaching you development, right? But game companies take a different approach, right? They want you to have solid fundamentals, right? Not to the extreme level of competitive programming, but then have that balance of fundamental knowledge of computer science with the fundamental knowledge of game development and game programming, right? So that's where your time is split between these two aspects versus just on the computer science and taking it all the way to competitive programming. So hope that answers. So you don't need to do competitive programming, but you do need to practice problem solving when it comes to topics like arrays, stacks, linked list, queues, a little bit about graphs, but not that much. But making sure that things like time complexity, all that stuff, you're rock solid on, right? Like it's all fundamentals most of the time. Okay. All right, do you see any more questions? Okay, I see a lot of questions. We'll take a quick detour. I'm just gonna quickly share my screen here. 1 second. Okay, so what you see on my screen is a LinkedIn post. I will share this link in the chat here. This is again a culture thing that we do at Outskirt. Every time we kickstart a new cohort, I drop this Hello Game World announcement on my LinkedIn account. And what we encourage is that all new members joining just go and drop a hi on the comments, right? Introduce yourself to the rest of the world that, hey, you're taking your first steps to enter into the game industry, right? So I've just shared the link. You can do it now, you can do it later. I'll share the link again in the Discord channel as well. But it's just our cultural way of introducing you to the rest of the world, saying, hey, come check out the folks that are now joining, our most recent cohort and looking to take their first steps into the gaming industry. Okay, so just say hello world, maybe share a little bit about what kind of games you play or what kind of games you want to build. Do whatever you want in the comments, but keep it more aligned towards the gaming industry, because a lot of our alumni, a lot of the companies that are hiring from us typically look at what we do as well on social media to see the next generation of talent that will come out from Outscale as well, right? So just go say a quick hi. Is that a Jolly Roger straw hat? Yes, that is. That is for sure. That's a One Piece anime reference for anybody who might not have understood. But yeah. All right, awesome. So the link is here. I'll just share it again in the chat in case somebody missed it. I'll share it again once more, but this is just our way of doing it as a cultural thing. Just go and introduce yourself to the world. Share if you're excited about doing something, if you're interested about doing something, what kind of games you want to build, etc. Could be anything, right? Doesn't need to be anything formal or fancy. Okay. All right, awesome. So let me pause screen share. Manas and I can go back to answering questions.
Yep. I also want to take a detour. Lots of operational questions. So I just wanted to go through the entire public page and explain each aspect so that everyone
Sure.
has a grasp of why the public page or master page is important. So guys, just you guys should be able to see my screen again. Is it visible? Yes, no, it's loaded.
Not yet.
No.
Yes. Can you just zoom in a little bit? I think it's too tiny on the screen.
No.
Yep, good.
Cool. So lots of guys had like questions. I don't have access to Launchpad channel. Again, instructions for that are right here. Join Discord, go to the bot channel and just type the command. The further instructions will be DM'd to you. All you need to do is then type in some information that we ask you. Once we verify the information on our backend, you'll automatically get access to the Launchpad Clan 3 channel. Sessions like we discussed will be there on from 7 to 9, Monday to Saturday. Sundays are off. Tracks allotted, you can get them over here, or you can simply get them over here. So you can get your recommended tracks over here. Again, these are just our recommendations. These are not hard and fast rules that you're supposed to only do track 2 if we recommend track 2 to you. If you think that you're more suited for track 3, even if our recommendation is track 2, you can start off with track 3 directly. All you need to do again is go to course curriculum and still get started with the track that you want to get started so just click here and you'll get direct access. So we are not going to tell you that since we've recommended track 2 to you, you won't be able to get started with track 3. And recorded sessions, someone had a doubt regarding recorded sessions as well. So today's kickoff call is getting live streamed on YouTube, so you can get access over there. Outside of that, all the mentor sessions that will be going forward, you will be able to find them all over here. So inside here, you'll see that sessions are added daily. after the end of every session, you should be getting the date plus the link to that particular sessions that you should be able to play on YouTube. So you might not find it on our public channel, but you should be able to get it on our on the link that will be provided to you over here. Uh, Other than that, this aspect I think we've not covered. So this is basically your calendar for the next 2 weeks. It has everything that we're going to discuss for tomorrow, day after, everything. So you'll see that the topics that we are going to discuss and how we are going to go about discussing them. So let's just take this. So on May 9, we are going to discuss how do animation systems work in The Last of Us, right? So how do contextual animation systems work, setting up animations for your different combat systems, all of that we are going to be discussing. So for the next 2 weeks, the entire roadmap, you'll be able to find it over here. The outside industry expert events will also be added. So on our Discord community as well as on your public master page, you'll get access to everything that will be discussed during our Launchpad program. And that's basically about it. If anyone has doubts about what's there on what's missing on the master page, feel free to like ask them right now, and I'll be more than happy to answer those.
All right, awesome. So yeah, I think I also missed covering the calendar. But like if you can scroll a little bit lower, Panos, one thing I wanted to highlight out was like you guys can see on some of the days there are two events that are added to the calendar. One is always going to be the 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. our regular conversation. But if you look at some other ones, like on Wednesday, there is a proud alumni conversation, right? Just can you open that, Manas, once? So, as part of the Discord community, not just for Launchpad, but for the broader Discord community, we host a lot of these events on a weekly basis because 10 years back, I didn't know shit about this, right? Like 12 years back when I was trying to get into the gaming industry, I didn't know jack shit. And, that's why, community holds very close to our hearts in terms of what we do. And we keep conducting these sessions with companies, with founders, with our alumni who are now working with companies, etc., to share as much as we can in terms of knowledge about what their experience is in the industry. When somebody's hiring for some profile, what are they looking for, etc. as well, right? So it's more about you guys getting to learn a lot more before you even think about joining it full time, right? So um, generally that's our sort of approach. So you'll see this here as well, but at the same time, you'll see a similar event set up in Discord, right? So you'll find the links in both the places. Okay. All right. So yeah, so you can see like there are going to be different sessions for each day. This is going to be again your master page for everything. If you have any doubts, you'll probably find something here that helps you answer that. If not, go back to the Discord community or directly go into the contact us and send us like an email there itself, right? All the details are going to be available here. Okay. Are we supposed to build a polished game or just MVP? Most of the time it will be an MVP. MVP just stands for a minimal viable product. Here, the goal is that you're building some small part, because at the end of the day, all of you are trying to learn programming, right? And when it comes to programming, right, the focus, and this is something that most people who just want to get started with game development get it wrong, is that they think about that I want to build the most polished game possible, right? It's not about polishing the game, right? You will learn to polish the game once you give it enough time. It's more about showcasing your skill set as a programmer, which is how do you write things like clean code? How do you make your architecture sound? How do you, when I talk about architecture, I mean like code architecture, right? Do you use the right programming patterns in order to implement solutions for the right thing? Remember when I was talking about computer science and problem solving? A lot of this is actually problem solving, right? And the same concepts that apply to a software developer apply here as well, right? So while yes, your output that you're producing is a game, more than just a polished game, you need to write architecturally clean game, right? And that's what's more important. Okay. You can have a game with just squares and boxes, etc. But then if that game, completely crashes, if one line of code is changed, it doesn't work, right? You're not a good programmer, right? You're not a good game programmer. So focus on those things in order to, showcase your skill set as a good programmer. And, eventually you will learn how to polish them as well. Okay. So that's the whole thing. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Why the subculture in the gaming company? There is no subculture in the gaming company. There is subculture wherever you want it to be, right? Like within our company, right? Within our team, we don't use sir at all. Everybody's on a first name basis. So, like you can do it. It's more about company to company. It's not specific to the gaming industry.
Yep. In my experience, I've never called any of my bosses as well. So.
Yeah, exactly. Same. I've always called my bosses with first name. Doesn't matter whether they're 20 years senior to me or 2 years younger than me. It doesn't matter, right? Like it's more about uh, company to company, the culture changes. It's not broader across the industry, right? You'll find ample companies in the web space who use the sir mentality, whereas ample companies in the gaming space who use the first name mentality. So it's more about company culture. Okay.
Nirnay again has been asking for a while, how many years of experience do you have in game development? I guess he means you by
Me
that.
specifically, yeah, it's like decade plus.
Yep.
After that, while you stop counting exact years and dates and months, but yeah.
In case you're asking me, I have what 3.5 years of game dev experience before I was coached by my uncle to help out
Yeah.
with skills. So
Yeah. Funny thing was Manas graduated from the program, went out, was working on some kick-ass projects. One of them was Temple Run, and then I hired him back. So yeah, that also happens a lot. The folks that I like a lot in the community, in broader from the Outscale ecosystem, I hire them internally. All right, awesome. So what we'll do is there are a bunch of questions since now we are officially closed in terms of like covering all the details we wanted. In order to get you guys started on the content, etc. You guys have access to all the resources. Now I'll enable unmute as well as camera options. So that way you guys can just quickly hop on to voice and just ask questions. So just raise your hand first because I'm guessing folks would have questions as well. The chat I'll also scan through, but just raise your hand if you want to ask something on voice, and we'll let you know as well. All right. So let me just scan through. Are you hiring or looking for Unity devs? Unfortunately, no. We are not in the business of building games ourselves. That's why we don't hire developers directly. But like Manas was a game developer, he was aligned and culturally motivated to see the problem that we are solving, which is a lot of people face this challenge on how to make a transition into the gaming industry, whether it's their first job or whether they've already had a lot of experience. That's the problem that Outscale was solving, and that's where he was very interested and motivated to help us solve that problem, and we hired him back, and now he's helping us launch a new product in the market altogether. At the end of the day, we are also a young startup. We only have 9 full-time members. So we're still a very young team. During the 2-week program, are each of us focusing on one of a specific field, or everyone is going to learn the same thing? I am not sure I understood the exact question. Could you just elaborate a little bit? What exactly do you mean? Utsav, do you want to unmute and quickly ask your question? Could you please share what kind of things? Hey,
Hello, Mayank. Hello, Manis.
Hello.
What if I don't know much programming, but I want to learn Unity track 2? Can I do that?
You can. It will be easier if you have zero programming experience to first start with track 1 and then go on to track 2 and learn Unity. Because remember this, right? When you have not done any programming in the past, now you're picking up 2 challenges. One, learn your first programming and learn Unity. Both of those is like equally difficult to get started with. So you're making the problem double hard for yourself. So that is why the recommendation would be track 1. But if you want to dive into track 2, remember, it's your choice. We can't stop you. just that you'll have to probably spend a little bit more time because you're learning your first language and learning a game engine, right? Hopefully that makes sense.
Sir, I have a question.
I know the basic of.
Lakshya, sorry, just give me 1 second. I'll come back to you. Okay.
I was saying that I know the basic of C and JavaScript.
Oh, so you know a little bit about programming as well. So then you can definitely start with Unity. All right.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Perfect. Awesome. Lakshya, go ahead.
Okay, sir, I have a question. Sir, I am not at age of 18, so can I be a full stack game developer?
You can. Like I said, I think I already answered that. Just send us an email with explaining your exact scenario. Send it to admissions@outskirt.com and we'll consider your case. Okay.
Okay, sir.
But first you have to complete Launchpad. Otherwise,
sir. Okay,
age
sir.
doesn't matter. Okay.
Sir, one more question, sir.
Go ahead.
Sir, I am telling that what we have to do first, track 1, track 2, track 3, which track we have to do first?
Start with track 1.
Track 1.
Yep.
Okay, sir. Sir, I don't know coding very well. I
That's
don't
okay.
know
Just
coding.
start with track 1.
Okay.
If for anybody, right? Like if you don't know programming, track 1 is your best friend. Start with track 1.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You are, sir, God. You are, sir, God, sir.
No, I'm not.
Yes, sir.
My name is Mike. All right, I'll move on next. Tagveer, do you want to ask quickly?
Yes, sir. I want to ask a question.
Yep.
Please go ahead. I'm not going to answer if I don't know the question.
Okay, sir. My question is that what do you think about a game publishing in WebGL over a traditional method of publishing a game?
Manas, you want to take this? I think this is your domain.
Yep. So just to elaborate, I actually initially worked on the WebGL port for Temple Run 2. So I worked with the team to help port their entire 110 MB game, bring it down to 15 MB, and make sure it works on Google Chrome and mobile devices running Google Chrome as well. So yes, there's a lot of scope over there on that front as well. The challenge over there again is like a completely different challenge where it becomes more, how do we optimize the shit out of this game, right? How do I bring the size of this 100 and 110 MB game down to 15 MB so that it runs on even a 10,000 rupee phone as well inside Google Chrome, which we know is a RAM hogger. So lots of optimization, lots of performance profiling. Again, I had to learn a brand new engine for that as well, since I learned Unity over here, but we were using Babylon to port the game over to WebGL. So brand new engine, no inspector, no normal tools. Everything is basically there on code. So was a very steep learning curve for me as well. Initially, I had to learn Node.js, I had to learn TypeScript, everything on the job. So yes, demand for that is a lot, but the learning curve again depends from person to person.
Yeah, perfect, awesome. Biswadi,
Yes,
you want to go next?
Hello, Manas and Mank sir. Both of you guys are just awesome.
Right.
Thanks for
Jump
this.
into your question. Yeah, jump into your question, please.
I'm experienced in like Java and Unreal Engine. So which tier would be more recommended for me?
Do you have experience in? Have you done anything on Unity before?
No, I have not touched Unity till now.
Okay, so my recommendation is start with track 1, but you'll be able to move fast because you already know a little bit about a previous game engine. So you'll be able to move fast and complete your track 2 at a good speed, then go on to track 3. Because if you directly jump into track 3, you'll be touching on advanced topics such as programming patterns, singleton, MVC, etc. Because if you have not done those ever, again, the same problem. You're learning two things at the same time, getting first hands on your Unity and learning advanced programming skills as well, which will make it more challenging. So my recommendation will be start with track 2, then jump into track 3. But if you want to take the difficult route, start in track 2, right? I would not recommend it though. I would recommend track 2. Okay.
I think you picked it up. It's difficult to get started with track 3. Recommended it's track 3.
That's what I said, right?
No, you said difficult option is track 3.
Yeah, difficult option is directly jumping into track 3.
Track 2. Even I'm screwing up now.
Okay, my bad. Track 2 is easier than track 3. Okay. Yeah. Track 3 is harder or the hardest. Think of it like that. Okay. All right, cool. Paki, you want to go?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know, like, why is C++ or C Sharp is the better programming language than Python or game development? That's the one question, like it's in my head for a while now.
It's better than which language? Sorry, Python.
Python, yes.
Correct. Manas, you want to add first?
Yep. Again, it depends on what you want to build, right? The language doesn't matter. So if you want to make an Android app, you know that you'll need to do stuff in Android Studio, which has Java support. If you want to build games, you know you'll end up using Unity or Unreal, which only supports C Sharp and C++. So it's not more, I would say this language is better or that language is better. There is some of that. There is a reason why engines are written in C++ and not in Python. But again, the basics come down to that. Whatever you're looking to build, you have to learn that language in order to use the tools that you're looking to actually build as well.
Okay, so like by learning Unity, you can make Android games as well, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, one last question. Actually, I have a couple of questions, but I won't, take a lot of time.
Do one thing. Just put your hand up. I'll come back. There's only one question. I'll rotate back and give everybody a chance.
Sure.
Right, perfect. No worries. Sushmita, you want to go?
So Unreal Engine is also there and Unity is there. So somebody who knows JavaScript and is only interested in the web side of it. So what would you recommend to them?
So what do you mean when you're interested in JavaScript? Is it like you're interested in learning JavaScript, or you're interested in getting a job only in the JavaScript world? What exactly?
So actually, I have like a lot of experience in web development and have worked with a couple of JavaScript frameworks as well. So I just want like an easier path. Like instead of learning an entire like C++, this would be too much of investment for me at this point of time. So like
why do you want to even learn? Why do you want to learn game development? What's the goal?
So actually I have built certain things like very stupid things like tic-tac-toe. So,
yeah, everybody starts with tic-tac-toe. I started with tic-tac-toe. It's okay. It's no harm in a stupid game.
Yeah, I mean like nothing so interesting as such. So just to like develop more skill sets as such, and then there is also that thing like we can have some applications like 3JS and like the 3D aspect of it. So those are the things which I kind of want to explore.
Okay, good question. So here the question is like, I'll summarize the question for everybody, and I think it's very important. When you're thinking about how should I structure my learning journey, right? It's very important to define an end goal, right? You can say, I want to explore, but why do you even want to explore, right? Is it because, hey, somebody told me this is interesting, I just want to check it out? Or is it like, hey, I know I've done this a little bit, I want to go deeper into it? Or, hey, I want to build my own indie game studio, right? Define an end fucking goal. Otherwise, you'll be lost throughout, right? And you'll end up wasting time. And remember, time is the only commodity that everybody in the world has constant, right? Rest, everything can go up and down. So from that perspective, always think about what exactly you're trying to achieve, right? If you're trying to achieve that, hey, I want to start building my own games and launch 2-3 free-to-play games and probably put them on the Play Store to make money, right? And turn it into a second source of income. That's an end goal. And that's very precise and specific, right? Your end goal could be wrong. You might change your end goal along the way, but always start with some kind of an end goal, right? So in your answer, in your case, Sushmita, right? I don't have a concrete answer because you don't have a concrete end goal, right? So I cannot tell you whether, go more with web-based technologies, go more with Unity or Unreal or something else, etc. Because the answer will change based on your end goal. The journey is there to get you to the end goal, right? Not the other way around, right? So think about what that end goal for you is, and then structure your journey accordingly, right? As far as when it comes to sort of learning Unity, etc., yes, it will be a harder challenge. But if you are an experienced developer, right, learning C++ is not, or C++ or C# is not going to be a challenge because you're already comfortable programming, right? You're already familiar with a lot of programming paradigms. What will be unique and new to you is learning Unity. And no matter which game engine you dive into, even if you dive into, like Manas in the previous answer was telling regarding web-based engines, right? you will still need to learn those, right? A little bit aspects about collisions, a little bit of aspects about animations and frames and delays and timing and asynchronous programming, all that jazz, right? You'll have to learn anyways. So hopefully that answers. I know it's a vague answer. That's because the question was vague a little bit. If you would ask me more precise with a precise question, I'll probably be able to give a more precise answer. But yeah, think about it before the end of the session. If you have, a precise way to structure your end goal, I'll come back and answer again, right? Paki, you want to go next again?
All right. So track one, we will start from programming, right?
Correct.
Okay. Actually, I'm more into game designing. I have been into game, not in the field, but I'm interested like since for a long time. But since I didn't know anything about it, and I started doing research, my own research, and then I came to a conclusion that I am more into game designing because I'm not a good programmer. Programming doesn't help me much. Animation does help me. Modeling is another thing. But the thing is, for me, is game designing more than game programming.
Get to the question.
Okay, so are we like going to know about something about game designing during this session?
Sure. So there will be a couple of sessions where we'll talk about game design aspects as well. But if you're interested only in game design, then maybe this might not be the right fit, just because this will go heavy deep into programming. Obviously, if you just touch on track 1 and track 2, you're not going that deep into programming. These are just sort of getting you started, make your feet wet, etc. as well. Track 3 is where shit really starts to get hard, right? And interesting as well from a programmer's perspective, right? But then again, if you have a design element, right, depending on what your career goal and outcome that you're looking to pursue, right, I would encourage that you do learn a little bit about programming, because having that interdisciplinary skill from a professional perspective always helps, because you can talk better to programmers. You can get your ideas realized quickly as well, because you can talk in their language as well, right? So it will broadly help, at least doing track 1 and track 2, and then seeing whether this is something as a good fit for you. The only caveat to all of this is what I'll add is that you mentioned one statement that, hey, I figured out that I'm not good at programming. Do not dismiss yourself on that aspect. I think a lot of people have never really learned programming in a fundamental way, and that's why they end up dismissing that, hey, shit, this feels too hard. So maybe give that one more shot and see whether you enjoy it. Maybe you don't need to still become a game programmer, but you might acquire enough programming skills to talk the right language with programmers to get your game design ideas implemented. Sometimes even write a little bit of no-code stuff as well to get your art and animation set up correctly in Unity or Unreal or some other engine, and showcase your ideas as a designer more successfully, right? That's also something that is heavily valued. If a designer knows actual Unity, the deeper they know, they are even more valuable to companies. Hopefully that answers your question.
One more question. So have you heard of?
There are a bunch of hand raises. I'll come back to you. All right. Awesome. Ashok.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey. Go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So I'm totally new to game development, although I have some programming experience.
Okay.
So the thing is, I don't know what I don't know in game development. So my question is, if I were to choose the full stack game development program, as opposed to taking up some online course, right, on the outside. So could you tell me what would be the difference?
Could I tell you what would be the difference? I will not. I will let you go through Launchpad first and experience what Launchpad is about, see what the community is about, and then I'll help you answer this question if it's not answered already for you. Okay. This is not a sales call, right? I don't want to make it a sales call for other people as well. Full stack has its own place, Launchpad has its own place. So I want to make sure that we keep it more focused towards that. I can give you 20 reasons, but then again, I would love that if you figure that out yourself as to what makes the Outskirt community special, and if you feel that this is the right home for you, right? Because folks, that we recently did a meetup in Bangalore, and people, our students came from Hyderabad, overnight by traveling in train for 12-15 hours to meet us for the first time, because this is like after COVID, this is the first time we have done a physical meetup, right? So a lot of people find their resonance with the community and the Outscale team. But again, it depends on whether you find that chemistry or not. And that will also help you answer that question. Hope that helps. But
Yeah.
again, we'll anyways talk more. There are more functional aspects of it, like how does the mentor session work? How does job placement aspects work? All those details we'll cover in more specific, an hour-long session that will be dedicated just for full stack. Otherwise, if I just answer in like 5 minutes, you'll feel not so convinced, and I'll feel I've done a shitty job at it either, right? So
got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Right, thanks. Vinay, next.
Hello, sir. I would ask Allah. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Yes.
Yeah, I have to ask you something like in the game industry, there are many roles. So, what are the roles that will keep me do the gameplay and programming? Like there, if I go in Ubisoft, the back end programming is different, the front end is different, there is animation, there is many shit. What is the role that will keep me with programming and gameplay together? Like I like to see the game moving, and I want to interact with while I'm making it. And I want to programming also.
Yep. So if you're starting as a generalist programmer, right, most of the time you're starting it as with the title of a software developer or a game developer, right, or a game programmer, right, which means that you're working on gameplay, right? As you mature in the industry, that's when you figure out whether you're a good fit for AI programming or animation programming or sound programming or blah, blah, blah programming. There are like 20 different types of specialization in programming alone, within the industry itself, right? But that only happens once you start to mature in your skill set, okay? It doesn't happen automatically from day one, right? And for things like backend development, unless you're really preparing to be a backend developer, you'll not accidentally fall into backend development, because it's a very specific skill set and you have to learn different elements compared to what a gameplay programmer would be doing. So if you're learning Unity and Unreal, if you're learning game programming, you will end up with game programming as a role. But don't worry about what will happen 5 years from now, because anyways, your perspective will change and evolve, and you will learn different things while you're in the industry as well. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Pramar?
Yeah, Brahmar here.
Brahmar.
Hey, man, please bear with me for a little bit of context setup.
What I'll ask is, because we are hitting time limit, first ask the question. If I need context, I'll ask it. Otherwise, I'll answer.
Sure. Okay? So my question is, the question definitely would not make sense without context. But yeah, would you encourage this game development path or some other path you have, because you are sitting in the core industry? I just wanted to know from you. So the
would
context.
I encourage game development?
Yeah, for me, actually, personally, I was asking because see, I'm from the data science field. I worked with Activision Studios on one of their multiplayer games, and worked closely with the developers. I come from a CS background. We have done some projects in college, Tic Tac, as we were talking. So, and end goal, as you asked, yes, I want to get my hands dirty and work on some development. So just wanted to ask, what would you encourage, going to a full stack development or any other path you have as you're sitting in the core industry from your perspective?
So figure out what you're really passionate about, right? If you've already worked in the industry, you probably already know what are the kind of things that you love doing and what are the kind of things that you don't, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people, while they're still in college, get this wrong because they end up going after what the seniors might have told them, what some cousin might have told them who's in the industry, blah, 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 right? But if you're once in the industry, you know that, hey, I'm doing this thing and I fucking hate it. Right. That was for me, at least, right? Like my first job was not in game development, right? I started in the finance industry. I was getting paid a good amount of money to build software, backend software for, one of the biggest finance player in the real money, this live trading ecosystem, etc. Right? One of the big players, US. So I hated it after the first year or so, right? I had learned all the things that I wanted to learn there. And after that, it was like same shit every day. And I couldn't see myself doing it, right? So I then switched into game development, right? So, it's more about what you want to do. It's not about what I recommend, right? Because if you know that you are doing something that you really can connect with at the end of the day, right? Then you will be able to justify that transition, right? Whether it comes at a cost of taking a 1-year sabbatical and just going deep learning it, etc. Right? Or for me, like I had to take a 2-year sabbatical and go to US to do a master's program altogether, right? But then again, I'm talking about 2012, right? So way back. Now we are in 2022.
Yeah.
So I had to stop my entire career for 2 years to go to school again, do a master's program, etc., etc. Right? So it depends on what your internal motivation and driver is. Irrespective of your background, data science is data analytics, blah, smash, muck, all smuck, right? At the end of the day, if you're really interested and you want to get into building games, who am I to recommend, right? You already know the answer.
Makes sense. Yeah. Thank you.
Right. Awesome. Lakshya?
Sir, I have one last question. That if I build any game using assets and I publish it to the Play Store, Steam, Epic Games, or etc., is it fair or not? By your opinion.
Why would it not be fair? I didn't understand. Like, are you using somebody else's assets?
Yeah.
So definitely check with them first if you're going for publishing something, because usually it will be a violation of somebody else's assets if you're using it without letting them know about it. So definitely check if you don't want to end up in.
No, sir, I will purchase the asset, then I will use it.
So check the license. Usually they will come with a license that says whether you have the right to publish it, republish it, use it commercially or not. Everything that you purchase, not purchase, usually comes with a license. Check the license. If it's not there in the license explicitly, ping the original developer, publisher of it to check how can you use this way or not. It's always good to check first before you move forward. Before you end up in legal trouble.
Okay,
right.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Paki, you want to go next? Am I saying it right? Paki, Paki, whatever. Like, how do you say it?
It's actually Pookie, but that's okay.
Pookie. Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
All right. Have you heard about? I think you have heard about Blueprint, right? In Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
So are we gonna get an introduction in this program?
No. I think I mentioned, right? Like Unreal, we don't talk about just because we focus more from a career perspective. There are a lot more job opportunities, and that maximizes the success of opportunities available for folks who are going through either Launchpad or even full stack, right? So that's why C++, like just a quick TLDR answer, right? The 7-month program for full stack, 3.5 months you're focusing on C++ and data structures. 3.5 months you're focusing on Unity, mastering the basics and the advanced concepts, right? So almost half of the time you're not even working with Unity. That's because you're focusing on building very strong C++ fundamentals, right? We recently have one member who just graduated, who got a job with Sumo Digital, right? It's a big publisher and developer in UK, and they have a very big team in India as well, right? And they've done some very fantastic projects, right? And they all focus on purely C++ based game engines. They have a small Unity team, but then very small, right? So while Blueprints is like the no-code solution to get you started, but it's always, as a programmer, you need to sort of understand this. But given your context, right? Like since you're coming from a design background, Blueprints might be a good way to get started as well and not go too deep into programming, because you can use Blueprints to prototype your game ideas like I was suggesting. So you can always go that route as well. But unfortunately for this one, because it's more programming centric, like we'll not touch on Blueprints per se. Does that make sense?
Sure. One more question. Since Lakshya said about, sorry, my bad.
Yeah. You got the rhythm. Sushmita, welcome back. All right, Sushmita, no. All right, 3, 2, 1, gone. All right, Aditya.
Yeah, so I'm more interested in building some digital interactive experiences like AR, VR stuff. So what kind of a game programming concepts I need to focus on more, and how it will help me if I take this course, which particular aspect it help me with?
Yeah, so good question. If you know already that you're interested in something like AR, VR, etc., right? The way I think about it is that at the end of the day, Unity, C#, C++, data structures is the fundamental layer. So imagine like a pyramid, right? So it's fat at the bottom and thin at the top, right? This forms like level 1, which is the very fundamental base, which gives you the ability to problem solve, right? Then comes the level 2, which is your AR VR, which is nothing but modules, right? Like how do you use the right AR library to get that platform or Pokemon to show up in a place that you want, right? A lot of the times learning the library is actually a weekend project by using some YouTube tutorial, right? But the problem is that if you think about Pokemon Go, right? Pokemon Go was not built just by knowing a little bit AR VR, right? There is a whole technology stack behind it in order to make that kind of a large scale game work. So the fundamentals of actual game programming and computer science still remain the same and forms the level 0 or the level 1, which is the bottom level of the pyramid. AR VR kind of sits on top of it. So you can think of it as an addition on top of the core fundamental layer. If you're not good with computer science, if you're not good with using Unity at all, or like say if you're using the native Android or the Apple SDK to build an AR application, you still need to know programming, right? You still need to know one programming language, right? So that's how I think about it, that you have to first learn the fundamentals, then you can stack on additional components on top no matter what. Okay?
Yeah, just to know about that complete pyramid, like after the fundamental programming, if we consider the AR VR, what comes next?
Then it's more about specialization, right? Like,
is it like system design or cloud?
No. So system design is again a more fundamental skill set, right? And we talk about it in full stack a lot. So it forms the fundamental way of how you think about problem solving, right? How you think about data architecture and those kind of things as well. So those things are more fundamental, not like level 2, level 3, right? If you try to compare it to an interview process for Amazon or Microsoft, if any of you guys are familiar with it, right? Like you might think about, okay, they're giving us a basic coding assignment first, then they're doing a live coding interview and giving us an algorithm, then there is a system design. So like that's not the correlation here. It's more about what skills you need to master first, then move on to the next skills. That's how you sort of think about it, right? And for programmers, like I was mentioning, right, there are 20 other different types of specialization. So let's say you start with programming, you move on to AR VR, and then you move on to AI programming within AR VR, right? That's like going deeper into the spectrum and narrowing your focus till you reach the tip where it's narrowed enough. So you say that, oh, I'm, more specialized in this domain no matter what, right? I can beat anybody's ass when it comes to this domain in the world because I'm very specialized in it and I have the hands-on skill set. Does that make sense?
Yep, got it. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. Sushmita, coming back.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to know what other skill sets are there apart from programming. Suppose like initial when I was like interested way back in college, there was also this breakout kind of a game which I built, but that was like all the components were already there. So how much of like science, physics, or maths would be helpful, or if somebody has lost interest, should they consider going back to those concepts as well?
You will have to go back to some of these concepts because maths is very core to programming in games, etc. as well. But then again, it's not that you have to do 10th board exams again, right? Or 12th board exams, right? So it's more about contextually learning what's relevant to this domain versus just going and blanket doing the entire subject, right? For example, you will be using a lot of trigonometry, right? When you talk about games, you will be using a lot of things like cos theta, sin theta, etc. as well. Angles, right? Knowing angles, knowing vector math, knowing your matrices, etc. Right? If you go more deep into, say, graphics programming, you'll be using a lot of these concepts even more, right? So it depends on like how deep you're going into that spectrum, and from there figuring out what's the right fit. But then if you're just starting off and looking at, again, the level 1 of the pyramid, right? Then it's more about just knowing the basics and the fundamentals to get your things in order. For example, one very famous interview question is that if you are building a shooter, right, a shooting game, how do you know that the enemy and a player are looking at each other, right? That's a very one big basic question, right? And you guys can Google, I'm not going to go into the answer, but the answer is very basic if you know a little bit of math, right? So those are the kind of things that can help on the job a lot. If you have good sort of fundamental contextual understanding of concepts like math. Okay, hopefully that answers.
Someone in the chat again said, oh no, again Trigno. Don't worry, everything's fun in the game context. So
yeah,
when you start building shit, you'll realize, okay, if I learned trigger this way, it would have been much more interactive plus rewarding for me as well. So just stick with it. You'll fall in love with math if you want to get into gameplay in the long.
Yeah, a lot of people hate math otherwise, but then when it comes to game programming and you learn about math, it actually feels fun because you're able to apply those shitty, boring concepts that you were just proving algorithms for in school to actually fun problems in a real way, right? So that's what it makes it more interesting. Okay. All right, good. Aditya, did you have a question or you good?
No, I didn't have any question.
All right, good. Pyuki, I forgot what. I'm bad at names. Sorry.
It's okay. It's spooky. All right. Since Lakshya said about assets that we cannot use it to publish our game, right? So does it mean we have to make our own models like everything?
No.
Or we can use
No, you can. So here's the caveat, right? If you are trying to do something commercial, trying to make money out of somebody else's work, you need to be very explicit that you're taking consent, right? Or if they have given it publicly and said that, hey, I don't care if anybody uses this for commercial, I'm fine with it, right? So if you are doing something commercial, potentially, whether you're making money or not, but you are launching it on the Play Store with ads inside it, your intent is to make money with it, right? In that case, you need to be very explicit to check that if you have bought something that comes with a license to use it commercially, if you're using something free, it comes with a license to use it commercially, right? That can become a legal problem. If you are doing it for educational purposes, putting it up on your portfolio website or GitHub, etc., right? To showcase that, hey, I've learned this, etc. Go nuts. Feel free to use whatever. 99% of the time, it will never be a problem because you're not intending to make money off somebody else's work and not give them credit. But even in educational projects, it will be always great to credit the owner if you have used somebody else's projects, because at the end of the day, you did make your project look better or jazzy or whatever by capitalizing on somebody else's work. And also, it does not come off as plagiarism as well. Because if, let's say, tomorrow a recruiting manager looks at your project and later they realize that, hey, you use these animations from some other thing, and they were under the impression that this project was done by you completely, you can potentially land in trouble through plagiarism, etc. Right? And you'll leave a bad impression. But if you're very upfront about it, it becomes a very transparent picture to understand that, okay, this person did not make this, and this is what they made out of this project. So yeah, hopefully that answers. Lakshya?
Thank you.
Yeah, sir, I am telling that like Unity, there are many subscriptions. There are free subscriptions also available, and Unreal Engine have also free subscriptions.
Subscriptions of what?
Yeah.
I'm guessing he means the engine that Unity has a different subscription model. Unreal is completely free to use. Why should we use Unity over?
Are you talking about like the Unity and Unreal pricing?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Are you making $1 million with any game?
Sir, but Unity can't take royalty, but Unreal Engine take 5% royalty in your game.
Unity also takes royalty.
So what's
Unity
the question?
also takes royalty. I don't know about that.
Sorry, I'll pause here. Before I answer or Manas answer, what's the question? There's no question here. You just made a statement.
Oh, there is no. Sorry, sir.
Yeah. So ask a question because it's a statement, right? It's a known fact. You know.
Okay,
you
sir. Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir. Sir, very sorry, sir.
No
very
worries,
sorry.
no worries. Yeah. Anuj?
Hi, man. Hope you're doing well.
Yep.
So you're talking about the cultural fit the gaming industry.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know what qualities.
Maniacs. Just kidding. But typically, people who are first and fundamentally driven by passion, right? For example, right, like this is not a generalization, but when I moved from the broader tech ecosystem to the gaming ecosystem, initially I was working at 1/3 the pay because I was crazy about it. Even though I had good professional experience, I was happy to take that pay cut because I knew this is the right domain for me. This is what I want to do, right? I'm not saying that anybody who has to move has to take a pay cut. Now the equation is very different. Companies are shelling left and right good amount of money for good talent. But 12 years back, the equation was very different as well, right? The industry was not as popular as it is today. So from that perspective, right, a cultural alignment is that you have a core internal alignment games, right? You usually are good at playing games. Not saying everybody is, but usually you're good at as in like not competitively playing for performance, etc. But you enjoy doing this, right? You are genuinely interested in it, right? A good sort of a reference frame, and this is something that game designers here would also appreciate, is that when you play the games, right, your mind kind of wonders that, hey, why did they make it like this, right? Like, oh, this level seems very interesting. It's harder than the previous one, but easier than the one before. Like, what the hell happened here, right? Like, your mind kind of goes into that domain where it's trying to analyze things, it's trying to create a breakup of things, etc., right? So if you find yourself doing that, there's a good inclination that you really enjoy the aspect of games and deconstructing things behind the scenes, right? And if you find yourself doing that unconsciously, subconsciously, etc., right, that's a good indicator that there's something here that interests you broader than what you might think, right? And then the rule of thumb, usually the way I do it, is that dedicate yourself, if you really are still not sure, dedicate yourself to doing something in that space for 21 days, right? And if by the end of 21 days you're still into it and you haven't yet gotten bored, right, then it's a good indication that that it is good culturally aligned to yourself, not the industry, but yourself. Once you know that this is a good alignment for me, broadly you will fit in well as well, right? And I'm talking about long term, right? There are ample people who come in, do a gig for 2-3 years and then move back out, right? So usually I'm not talking in that scenario, but for folks who really think that this is the right career direction for them for life, right? Like, so those are the kind of ways I sort of think about it. By the end of 21 days, if you're already cursing that shit, it's not been 21 days and I'm still stuck doing this, probably you know already the answer, right?
Yeah,
Right.
right.
What's up?
So yeah, basically I like maths. I like mathematics. I like doing maths problems.
Okay.
And
Perfect.
basically for me, gaming is something I've been doing for the past 25 years. So gaming is like when I'm stressed, I game. And that kind of de-stresses me.
Yeah.
And I'm addicted. I have to admit that I'm good,
Yeah.
that sometimes I can't stop.
The best way to remove gaming addiction is join the gaming industry. You'll get so much work that most of the times you'll spend in building rather than playing. But yeah, sorry.
So my question is, so when I visualize, how do I, what kind of qualities do I have to, inculcate in myself to actually be that game programmer? So right now, I'm into support. So could you guide me in this?
Let me come back to it because I'm violating my rule here. One question per person.
Sure.
All right. Sorry, Utsav, go ahead.
May I speak now?
Yeah, please.
Sorry to interrupt, but I guess that time Laksh's question was that why to use Unity if we are having more free engines?
About to use Unity if you have more free engines. Okay. So here's the thing, right? You're in two situations. One, you're just getting started. You don't even have a game out. You haven't yet made even a single dollar from a game yet. Or on the other extreme, you might already be super mega popular and you have a game that's potentially making in millions of bucks, right? The scenario is going to change for both. If you're in the first one, right, don't even fucking think about it. Just get the game out. It will take a lot of tries to get something that actually starts to make money, right? And if you already have spent, like, how many of you here know the Rovio story, the company that made Flappy Birds? Anyone? Quick raise of hand.
Angry Birds.
Flappy Birds. Yeah. Angry Birds. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So how many attempts does it take that company to
51.
get to? 51. Yeah, exactly. Right. They were at the brink of fucking extinction and getting, buried because they didn't have any money. Right. 50 some games it took them to get that knockout hit. Right. And after that, suddenly one game starts to make in millions. Right. If they were using Unity for all that 2-3 years, right, at the end of the day, they only start paying back to Unity once the game starts to make any money. But all this time you were using the engine for free, right? So in some sense, it's your moral obligation to say that, yes, okay, I've used that tool that somebody did spend time and making, right? Those are also real people who have families to support, not just us, right? So then what's the problem, right? You're only paying when you get to make money, and you're only paying a percentage or a fixed amount, either ways, right? Whether it's a percentage deal, whether it's a this thing, it doesn't matter, right? You don't get to pay more than what you make ever, right? So it doesn't matter. It helped you get to a stage where you're able to make money, right? So never even think about it or cross question it, because once you get to that stage and you're making millions, then you are in a position to renegotiate a deal as well. You're already in a position to say, hey, Unity, I'm doing so much. I think, who was it? This Epic versus Apple case, right? Epic was already in a position where they were making in 50 plus million or 100 plus million per year for Apple alone from a single game, Fortnite. Now they were in the power position to say, hey, we're going to remove our game from the store, right? And go live with our own store. So once you get that big, you can dictate terms. Till that time, don't even worry, because at the end of the day, you're kind of giving back to the community as well, in some sense, right? They are the ones who helped you get there using that engine. So don't even think about these kind of questions at this stage, just because in the long run, it won't matter. Okay, you're trying to optimize for something that's right now not even a problem.
Right? Yep. Think of it that way, right? Why are Microsoft Studios still using Unreal? Simple. It's as simple as that. Why are they still using?
They have the firepower to make your own engine as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Awesome. So I think we are overshooting on time. So what we'll do is we'll cap off today. I know there are a couple of hand raises up. We'll take these questions up on Discord. So just drop us these questions in Discord. But before we do, there is a fun ritual that we do at Outscale. I would encourage everybody to pop on their camera and mic. We'll do a quick 10-second fun activity. If you guys, can quickly unmute / pop on the camera as well, that will be helpful. So this is an activity that's usually been called a lot of different names. I'll encourage if you guys can switch over to the gallery view. Actually, let me remove all spotlight so you guys can see each other as well. If not, definitely switch over to the host has stopped. I'm not sure what exactly, but yeah. All right, awesome. So here's what we're gonna do. This activity has been called Outscale.
Sir, the host has stopped me. I can't start video.
No, you should be able to. Everybody has access.
1 second, I'll check.
Just double check, Manas, please. All right, so this has been called Outscale Yoga. I don't think it's yoga, but here's what we're gonna do. All right, I see a lot of people still don't have cam up. If you can, definitely join in. All right, I want everybody to raise their hands in front of the camera. All right, Anuj is already doing something, which I think he might have already taken part in this before. Okay, so I can see. So I want everybody to put their hands in front of the camera. Unmute yourself. I see a lot of folks who are on cam but not unmuted. It's not going to be fun if you don't unmute. It's okay. If there's background noise, it's fine. We'll make more noise. That's all right. So hands up in front of the camera. You're all programmers or wannabe programmers. So move your fingers really fast, like really, really fast. You can see my fingers, right? Like really fast. All right. Cool. Awesome. So that should get the blood flowing in the fingers, right? As if you're typing. All right. Cool. Now, when I say 1, 2, 3, right? Everybody's gonna raise their hands up in the air, right? And then scream, right? Scream, go team, G-O, team, T-E-A-M, team. It's not go T. I'm not talking about the beard. People have screamed go T. I'm talking about team. Okay? T-E-A-M. Very clear. All right. On the count of 3 only. All right. So here we go. All right. When I say 1, 2, 3, that's when we do it together. All right. So just follow my lead. All right. 1, 2, 3. Go team.
Go team.
Go team. That feels very dull.
Go team.
All right. This is, all right. Somebody was super late to the party. All right. So Jitendra, Lakshya, Sandeep, you guys are on video but not on audio. So just unmute yourself as well, because I can't hear you guys otherwise. All right.
Sir, today I am very happy, sir.
All right, perfect. All right, I want to see it. I want to see that excitement on the Go team. All right. Once again, this time properly and with full energy. All right. This is the last part of the session. And after that, you guys can go have dinner, whatever. All right. Fingers really fast. Come on. All right. I want to see a lot of good fast fingers. All right. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Go team!
Go team!
All right.
Go team!
Awesome. This was much better. All right. Awesome, guys. Thanks for
Lakshya
staying
is
in.
always late to the party.
It's all right. We'll blame the internet. We'll blame the internet. All right, awesome, guys. Thanks for staying in. Hopefully you guys had fun. Hopefully you were able to answer some questions. The details are there in the link. I'll share the link once more time. And hopefully we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Again, 7 o'clock tomorrow on the same link. And Manas and I will be hosting again. See you guys tomorrow. Have a fun rest of the day.
One more thing, sir. Pai lagu, sir. Pai lagu, sir. Pai lagu. Thank you, sir. Pai lagu, sir.
All right. Awesome. All right. Take care. Good night, guys. Bye.
That was an experience. Okay.
That's great.
Bye, guys.